is Alan. I always loved acting, and every year in my school I used to get a role in the local play. I loved playing the main part, but to be honest, any part I loved playing. I was reading through my local newspaper one day when I spotted an ad for an audition for a TV show. I was so excited about it. An audition in my very own town for a TV show. It was so attractive to me. I rang the number as soon as I got my confidence up. The lady on the phone took my details and then gave me an email to email a short video of me playing any role. I chose to send her the best role I could think of, which was a play I did last summer. I waited a whole week and got no reply. I was about to lose hope when finally my phone rang and I was asked to come to an audition, which was happening on Saturday. They emailed me the script. I read through it. The role was me walking up to a guy, asking him what advice he would give me on my wife cheating and act really upset. I practiced in front of the mirror for about an hour, making up different dialogue that would suit the role. Finally, the day came for the audition, and I was nervous, but I just had to park the nerves and realise this is what I always wanted. There were 3 people I assumed were judges sitting in the theatre, and a man on stage. As soon as I walked in, the man said, "Just in time, Alan, is it?" I said yes. When I went up on stage, he said, "Give it your best performance. Are you ready?" I said, "Yes, I'm as ready as I ever will be," and gave a smile. I jumped back with fear when the man pulled out a knife and started screaming. I was trying to run from him and he grabbed me. I looked into the audience and the 3 people were smiling. I felt sick, knowing that if I didn't do something, he would kill me. He started shouting hysterically like a madman and raised the knife again. I pulled him back and he fell off the stage. It was like I could hear a crack as his head hit the floor hard and there was a pool of blood. I was on stage, frozen in fear. The 3 people started screaming. I wondered why they brought me here to an audition to kill me. They all got together and held me, while one rang the police. I kept screaming, "Let me go, let me go." I said he was trying to kill me. One of the men shouted, "You bloody madman, you know that was the role you were meant to play. I sent it in your email." A few minutes later, when the police arrived, I showed them my phone and the email that was sent. It was then the man realised he had sent. Hello, my name is Paul. Let me tell you about a really frightening experience I had. I was so shocked by what happened that now when I go out, I make sure to check for my phone to make sure it's there and look around if I'm walking alone on a street to make sure no one is following me. I don't even feel safe in my own home. A person's home is meant to be their sanctuary, but I don't even feel safe there. I was having a night out with my friend Jason, and we were at a bar. It was quiet, but that suited me. I didn't like busy clubs or bars. I just liked to chill out and relax. We were enjoying our drinks and chatting when I checked my phone to make a call. I was upset when I realised my phone was gone. I asked my friend to call it to see could we hear it. Maybe I dropped it somewhere, and the bar was so quiet that if I did, I more than likely would hear it ring. My friend gave me his phone, and there was an answer after 3 rings. There was just a weird giggle at the end of the phone, and when I rang back, there was no answer. Later that night, when I got home, I saw my phone sitting on the sofa where I now remembered I must have left it. But then it hit me. Who was the person who answered giggling? Suddenly I heard movement behind me, and when I looked, there was nothing. I heard what sounded like a dog howling and quickly followed it down to my basement. When I walked down the steps and turned the light in the basement on, I saw what looked like a starved boy looking up at me, and he gave the same giggle that was on the phone. I got such a fright I ran up the steps and locked the door and rang the police. When the police arrived, there was no boy to be found in the basement. I watched TV that night and tried to figure out where the boy went. Suddenly my phone rang, and when I picked it up, I could hear the giggling. I shouted into the phone, and when I looked at it, I realized the battery died. But the giggling was still there. I froze in fear, knowing that the giggling must have came from inside my living room. I looked around but could see nothing. I never heard the giggling again. But wherever I go, I feel like that creepy boy is going to pounce on me and attack me while giggling. I can't understand what it is, but I'm living in fear constantly. Let me tell you a story that happened to me one night, and there are others to confirm it also. It was just an ordinary night shift. I normally like working on night shift because I am a bit of a night owl, so I don't mind staying up late at night. But one night things became really strange, and what I mean by strange is an understatement. I mean extraordinarily strange. You will see as you watch the story. Let me start at the beginning. It was a Friday night and I was working the night shift in my local hospital. I was just relaxing in the reception, reading a great book, when suddenly a man burst in the door. He was carrying a woman and shouted, "Help! Help! I saw this woman on the road. She's about to have a baby." I said, "Sir, who is this woman? I need to put her details into the system, but don't worry, we will get her to the labour ward right away." A few minutes later, the lady was put on a stretcher and put into the labour ward. She kept screaming and screaming. The man didn't know who she was, as he just picked her up on the road, and the doctors and nurses couldn't get anything out of her. Suddenly, a photograph fell out of the woman's hand, and it was of her and another woman. There was the name Claire Jackson on the back. I heard them say her name, and out of curiosity and trying to solve the mystery of who the woman was, I researched her. Claire was taken away from her mother due to her mother suffering from delusions of being the Messiah to a Dark Lord. She was taken away into the asylum, rambling about a satanic ritual performed to summon a Dark Lord that would be born on November 22nd. I froze when I read that date, as I was reading that article exactly on November the 22nd. Suddenly the screaming grew louder. I ran into the labour ward, and the lady had given birth. The whole hospital got covered in a dark mist. The woman stopped screaming and gave a sinister smile, and the baby looked up at us with bright, red, evil-looking eyes that shone through the dark mist. Now that I've told you the story, let me tell you the weirdest, strangest thing. That woman walked out of the hospital that night with her baby and was never to be seen again. We checked CCTV footage and we were all around the bed where the woman was, but the baby and woman weren't anywhere to be seen on any of the CCTV footage. But we know what we saw, and we know that we didn't imagine it. How could so many of us have imagined it? But the question I ask is If that baby is a Dark Lord, when will it make its presence known? Every day I worry that the room I'm in will get covered in that black mist. Thanks for coming along to another session, Mike. I wanted to speak to you about what is really getting under your skin today. I am going to try to get to the bottom of whatever it is, and we will be able to speak about whatever is bothering you and try to find out what the biggest fear you have or the biggest worry. We will really dig into your psyche and try to uncover secrets to make you feel much better in whatever you're going through and whatever is worrying you. Whether it's worry over money or relationship or guilt. Are you feeling comfortable? Is there anything I can get you? A glass of water? Maybe another cup of coffee? Yep, a cup of coffee would be great, please, thanks. Joe made some coffee and laid the cup on the table in front of Mike. Mike took a drink of coffee and then relaxed in his seat for his counselling session. So Mike, first I want to ask you, what do you think is making you feel uncomfortable this month? Well, to be honest, I feel like I'm trying my best to better my life, in work etc. And I'm putting my work before my home and my wife and kids etc. I mean, by the time I get home at night, my kids are already in bed, and I hardly ever take my wife out. Sometimes I feel like maybe if I made less money and had more time with my family, I would be so much happier. Well, Mike, I can see where you're coming from, but it's my job to make you unravel whatever is worrying you. So Mike, let's start at the start. You mentioned you're working too hard to spend time with your family. Could you explain more? Is that all it is? You working long hours to not spend time with your wife? Or is there something else? Well, yes, that's it basically, and I wish I had more time with my family to spend with my wife and kids. That is one of the main reasons I came to see a counsellor. Oh Mike, I'm glad you came to see a counsellor, as I will tell you what you should do. You should be honest with your wife and kids. You should be loyal. Mike was getting a bit anxious. Joe kept talking. See Mike, what good is it you coming to counselling if you don't take note of the counsellor? You shouldn't be disloyal now, should you? Joe looked confused and said, "That's okay, I just wanted to try it out as an experiment when you were so adamant you thought it would be a good idea to see what things would feel like if our roles were reversed. But I am your counsellor, so let's just keep it that way, please." Mike gave a sinister smile and said, "Oh no, but you see, Mr. Counsellor, I was enjoying playing the role of a counsellor because I was just getting to the root of your problem, which as a matter of fact I just found out last week from reading my wife's text messages is my problem also." Joe stood up and said, "Mike, our session is over, and to be honest, I'm sorry, but I think you might have to get a different counsellor." Mike said, "No, Mr. Counsellor, I have finally discovered how to ease my pain. See, now that I know that you are having an affair with my wife, I just need to make that stop." Mike pulled out a gun and pointed it to Joe. Joe jumped in fright and said, "Mike, I'm so sorry. I will never see your wife again. Trust me, you have to trust me." Mike said, "Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? You always used to tell me, trust my wife, when I told you I was worried she was cheating. Well, I can't trust her, can I? And I shouldn't, should I? So I need to get rid of the problem. I need to get rid of you." Mike shot his counsellor in his head.